this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And today I came in to talk about something a little bit more serious. You see the question that I have on the screen? Is it the end times or is it just bad times? Let me just tell y'all where my head has been today. And this video might be a little long because I'm going to be all over the place with what I've been thinking about, what I've been seeing in the news, on TV, and just everywhere. So I woke up this morning before my alarm went off. I work from home, and I'm an empty nester that lives alone. So a lot of times when I wake up in the morning, because I get up so early, I turn on the TV, I get to a news station, and I just have this as background noise as I'm preparing for my day. Getting my shower, going into my little office, getting my computer turned on for work, and, getting everything logged in. And then I'll go down and grab me a little something to eat and grab a cup of coffee. And by that time, it's time for me to start work. So today I had a little bit more time after I had done my little morning routine with my coffee and all that. And I had the news on. And what they were showing were kids in other countries who were malnourished and basically dying from hunger. And y'all, I started thinking about all the stuff that's going on in the world today. Now that's how my day started. So as they were telling us what was going on, I, had my cup of coffee in my hand and I sat down in the chair and I just, instead of just having the volume on the TV down low, I turned it up because I wanted to hear what was going on with these children and why so many of them were malnourished and dying from starvation. Then after that, y'all, I couldn't take any more of it. I'm a person that loves kids, and anytime they are in danger or something like that, what I saw in that broadcast, it breaks my heart and I can't take it. So I turned the station to something else, another news station, because I'm a news junkie. And then I watched a report about those women that are in those camps at the border and what has been happening to them. So I listened to them talk about how some of those women have been, and young girls, have been sexually assaulted, basically raped. But this particular broadcast was about them being sterilized. So the first thing I said is, oh my God, they've taken their children away from them. And now they're sterilizing them. So again, I turned the volume up because I wanted to hear what was going on. And they said that what they're doing is they're giving those women hysterectomies in record numbers. Now keep in mind, these are the same women that when they crossed our border, they took their children from them and basically have lost in the system a lot of these women's children. So now the Trump administration got the bright idea to give them full hysterectomies. The person that was reporting the story said that when they went in and spoke to the women said that they were told different reasons why they needed to have a hysterectomy, and that record numbers of them were being sent to this one doctor, and he was removing everything inside of them that makes them female against their will. And because the women's children had already been taken from them, they haven't seen their children in months, don't know where they are, don't know if they're alive, don't know anything. And now you're removing any possible chance of them ever having a baby again. They said that now what they're experiencing is these women are trying to commit suicide. They are so distraught with the treatment and mistreatment that they are suffering that they rather be dead. Then, y'all, after that broadcast went off, then you see all the stories about the fires in California and the fires that are raging across the country. Then it goes from that to the hurricanes and, flooding and all of that. Then it left from that to the coronavirus, a plague that swept the globe. And unfortunately, we live in the country that has the most cases, the most deaths, because the person that we have in the White House doesn't believe in science, doesn't believe in anything but what goes on in his brain. So now we have close to 200,000 people, 200,000 Americans dead, and well over 6 million people infected with this virus. When they talked about the flooding, the fires, the tornadoes, and everything that's going on, they would say in their broadcast, worst tornado in a century, worst hurricane in the last 100 years, worst fires in a century. Everything is the worst that we've seen in our lifetimes, in our lifetimes. So it got me to thinking, y'all. And I am not a conspiracy theorist at all. I don't believe in, something someone told me if it's not backed by fact. I'm also the type of person that I will listen to what you tell me, but if I don't understand or if I don't believe, I go research it. I see what makes you believe what you believe. I just don't poo-poo your thoughts, but I need to do my own research to see if I can find fact-based information. So with that being said, y'all, I'm also not a person that attends church regularly. I believe that Jesus died on the cross for me. I believe that he was our Savior. I believe in God, and I try to live the best life that I can, being a good person and living the way that I believe God wants me to live. I know that I am not perfect, and so does the Lord, but I do try. When I look out at everything that's going on, y'all, I'm starting to wonder what is happening to this world. Not just America, but the world. We never know the day that the end is going to come or we're going to be raptured or any of that. We don't know that day. God didn't give us the day. But when you look around at everything that's happening in the world, you start to wonder, is this just bad times? Or are we living some end time prophecy? Now, I mentioned that I wasn't, a person that attends church regularly. But I noticed that what I've been doing a lot lately, all day, every day, is I will pray for the world. Not for myself, for the world. And what I'm praying and what I keep saying to God is, God, please help us. Please help us. When I look at all this hatred being spewed from one race to another, people killing people simply because of the color of their skin. They're lynching people and, just all of this that's going on. I know that I cannot be the only person that this kind of stuff crosses their mind, because I've been on earth 55 years and I've been lived through several presidents, good ones and bad ones that I've been indifferent about, but I've never lived through anything like what we have in the White House now. I watched that man in the White House sit with scientists who were discussing, why the fires in California are raging, and, explaining to him what needs to be done with climate control and all of that, y'all. He basically looked over at them and said, you know what, whatever. I don't believe in science. Science is wrong. It's going to get cooler, because they were telling him that because the earth continues, the temperature of the earth continues to rise little bit by little bit every year, that this is what's causing it. California is a dry state. They have droughts, and, with this gradual increase in the temperature of the earth, this is what's causing all of these wildfires every year. And then each year they're worse than the year before, worse than, has been recorded in hundreds of years. But you have a person in the White House who is so evil and so narcissistic and so utterly insane, lacks humanity, because for him to order those women at the border to be made infertile, to remove everything inside of them that makes them a woman against their will, after you've taken children literally from their breast that they were breastfeeding, you snatch their children away from them, and you don't even know where the children are. When I heard that those women were starting to commit suicide because they were so hopeless, they're being mistreated, starved, raped, children taken. I know that, the different races, sometimes, black people will say, well, the Mexicans don't care about us. Why should we care about them? Y'all, we're part of a bigger race, and that's the human race. And I wasn't raised to hate. Hatred is something that either is learned, something like that, through the experiences that you have in your life, you grow to hate certain things. But I wasn't raised that way. Though I grew up with parents who came right out of the civil rights era. My parents were young people during the civil rights era and very much involved. My father went to the March on Washington. But even with that, they did not raise us to hate, because they said that is why our lives as black people have been so impacted with this American experience because of hatred. And they did not want to raise children that hate. They told us that when you go out in the world, you're going to have experiences that are going to change you, mold you, but we can't send you out in the world with hatred already in your heart. We have to raise you the right way and let you experience life and make your own choices, your own decisions. So they raised us not to hate, even white people. Even though my dad had gone through different things back in the 50s and 60s when he was a young man, he was able to teach us that you don't hate. Same with my mother. my grandparents, they didn't instill hate in us. But when I look at what's going on with the races here in America, along with everything else that's going on, y'all, it makes you wonder if we're living in the end times. You know, it makes you wonder. It's also, as I told my uncle, if it is, and you've lived your life right, and you know that Jesus is your Savior, He died on the cross for you, and you believe whatever religion you believe, and there, if the Bible is true, and it is, what it appears to be, there's going to be a rapture. So when I was talking to my uncle the other day, I said, whatever happens, I just hope that I've lived my life in a manner in which when the rapture comes, I won't be here. I will be raptured. And that's the only thing that you can hope for. Because I don't want to live in a world that it gets worse than what it is now. Because we know that after the rapture, then the world is supposed to go through hell. I don't want to be around for that. Because if what we're going through now is any indication, and it's just the tip of the iceberg of how bad it's going to be, I don't want to be here for that. All this hatred, children literally in the 21st century dying of hunger. I just went downstairs, made myself dinner, just threw some wings in my air fryer, and then, did my little spices on it and sat down and enjoyed a dinner that I wanted to eat. I wanted some wings tonight, and I wanted a salad and something cold to drink. And as I was preparing my wings, I was sitting there thinking, there is a baby somewhere with a distended stomach that is screaming out in pain because they're hungry and they're slowly dying. And here I am with not only a refrigerator full of food, I have kitchen cabinets stocked with food, and in my basement, I have a deep freezer that is stocked with meat. And you got a baby in another country that the mother showed up at a medical tent to get assistance for her baby, for her daughter. And she told the people that she had other kids at home that were hungry and sick and probably dying too, but this one seemed to be the worst. So they only had enough money to pay for one of them. So they brought the one that they believed was the worst of all of their children. They had to make a choice. And here we are in America with, a lot to be thankful for. Though, as Black people, we suffer, a lot here in America. It's just, y'all, things are so bad. They're so bad. When November comes, me and my mom we were talking the other day, and my mother said that she is not going to just assume that Joe Biden is going to win. Because of what happened the last time, I don't know, y'all. And so I don't get my hopes up high thinking this nightmare is going to be over in November. Because Trump is who he is, I don't trust it, y'all. And I'm worried that Biden might lose. Not through people not getting out to vote, running, crawling over broken glass, trying to get to the polls, crawling over COVID, trying to get there, or doing mail-in ballots. I believe that Trump is going to cheat. I believe that something is making him Teflon. You know, where all of this shit that he's done, his supporters still back him, still defend him, still say, well, what he meant to say was this, and he didn't really say that, even though we're sitting here watching him say stuff. These people are so blinded by this man that it's unbelievable. Y'all, years ago when I was younger, when I was in my early 30s, probably the age my son is now, I was about 33. I was at work bored. I've always worked in offices. It was during the Christmas season, and the business that I was in during Christmas season was very slow. So basically, we were at work just sitting at our computers waiting for the phones to ring. So I was bored and I was chit-chatting with my friend, and I noticed she seemed like I was aggravating her. She was reading a book. And she went in her desk and pulled out another book and handed it to me and told me to read it. Just give you something to do, I guess she said, so you'll leave me alone so I'll be able to read my book. And the book she gave me was called Left Behind. It was the first book in a series of books, and it's about the rapture and what happens after it. It's a fictional tale that's based on the Bible. It's about 14, maybe 16 books in the series. And it's written by an author by the name of Timothy LaHaye. Y'all, when I tell you that the book is based on the Bible, and they take everything and they create characters around the rapture, the tribulation, and all of that. So they create fictional characters that are going through the end times. When I tell you those books are good, y'all, those books tell about the rise of the evil person that, starts all this stuff in the world, and it goes on 14 to 16 books and telling you how it's going to be. The last book is called The Glorious Appearing, I believe, and it's when Jesus comes back to earth, when he returns. And by the time you make it to that book, the last book is almost anticlimactic, because that series takes you through so much with those 14 books that by the time you get to The Glorious Appearing, it's almost, I don't have words. When all the angels are riding and they're defeating the devil and sending him, underground and all of that, you're just saying to yourself, is this what's gonna happen? We're taught to believe in the Bible, and if this is what's gonna happen, I do not want to be here. I do not want to be here. I'm not taking any type of mark. I'm not following anyone blindly. The reason why I bought that book up is because in the book, the thing that kept getting me about this book is that evil man, the character in the book. What would happen is there would be people that didn't believe in him, and they would have a meeting with him. Now, this is in the book. They would go into the meeting opposing him. They've been outspoken, about him. They don't like him. They think he's evil, but they have this meeting with him. And then when they come out of the meeting, everything about them has changed. They're now riding for him, extolling his virtues and that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Does that sound familiar? You have all these people, these Republicans, that turn a blind eye to what this man does. Not only turn a blind eye, but make excuses for him. Say he didn't really say what he just said and what we saw him say, and that he's not lying, and get angry, pissed when we talk negatively about him. Think about his followers. Don't they seem a bit cultish and brainwashed? When that man in the White House said that he can go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and get away with it, at the time, I was sitting here like, you know what? He is a Looney Tune. But today, almost 4 years later, I believe him. I believe that he could go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone, and those Republicans will support him. His followers will support him. He has some type of hold on them. I don't know what it is, but it's very reminiscent of what I read in those books, those Left Behind books, and what the world is going to look like after the rapture. Now again, y'all, I cannot sit up here and quote Bible scripture or anything. I don't know enough to even, disrespect you by trying. But what I do know is what I feel. Something in this world is not right. Something is sweeping across the globe, and it has the stench of evil on it, y'all. Evil. I am trying my best to live right. I'm trying my best not to get so much in my head and, get carried away with this, because you can become carried away when you're worried. But my instinct, all of us are animals. We're just humans, but we have instinct like animals. The difference between us and animals is animals survive off their instinct. If they smell danger, they run. A lot of us live like that, but there are a lot of us that we ignore our instinct. We talk ourselves out of our animal instincts. We'll say, "Ooh, he seems a little dangerous. No, he's all right. That's just me doing stinky thinking." No, it's your animal instinct telling you danger, danger, and we don't listen. When I think about that aberration that we have in the White House, that's what I feel. Danger. When he is speaking on television, because I believe he is of evil, I turn down the TV because I don't want to hear what he says. I don't want that to enter my body. I don't want to take a chance, y'all, on being hypnotized or whatever is going on, cultized as his cult followers are. I don't want that. So I refuse to listen. Now, call me what you want, conspiracy theorist or whatever. Maybe I am to a certain degree. But the fact remains, and remember I started this video talking about fact. He is sterilizing innocent women that their only crime is crossing the border. He is stirring up division and hatred. And why? What leader does that? I'm going to end this by saying that one of his wives, and I read about this and they just showed this again on CNN tonight. One of his wives, I believe it was Ivana or whatever broad's name was, talked about that Trump often read the writings of Hitler, and he slept with them beside the bed. And in Hitler's time, Hitler did a little sterilization experiment on women. Because when I was watching that broadcast about them sterilizing those women, they said it's almost like they're experimenting on them. This doctor that's doing this to them. Y'all, this is America. We are living in the 21st century. What the hell is going on? Wake up. Question. Are we sitting back like the Germans did while they're butchering, raping, starving people at the border. And because they don't look like us, we don't care. That's what the Germans did. And that's how we got the Holocaust. And that's why over 6 million Jews were killed. Because the Germans turned their head and ignored it. Because they had an aberration like Trump. Y'all, I'm going to get out of here. That's all I had to say. Sometimes, coming in, joking and playing, it's fun because you do want to continue to live. But there are times when you are sitting quietly and you're thinking about everything that's going on in the world, and you can't help but to speak out about it and just want to share your feelings. So y'all, today, that's where my head is. 2 stories that rocked me to my core. Those babies starving, those kids over in that other country, and when I heard what Trump is doing in the name of America to those poor women that are being detained at the border. God help us all. Y'all, this is the end of the video. Stay safe. As always, thank you for taking the time to listening to my ramblings. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.